everybody! So today's makeup look is inspired by Sunmi's Gashina, and the photo that I used as a reference will be linked down in the info box. So first I'm starting off by just applying a thin layer of BB cream. I'm using this more as a base than anything else. And then I'm using a cushion foundation because this one has a slightly dewy finish, and as far as I can tell her makeup is more on the dewy side. It's definitely not matte, so that's what I'm using here. I go on by concealing my under eye areas with a liquid concealer. And then I continue by spot concealing with a cream concealer and a really small brush. I find that this is the way that works best for me. You can do whatever works for you, but that's just how I do it usually. As a last step for my base makeup, I am using a cream blusher that will be the base for the blusher that I will use later on in the tutorial, but for now I'm just using a cream blusher, so it has a while to sit on my skin. For my eyes I'm starting off by doing my eyebrows, and usually I'm wearing my eyebrows more straight, but hers are a little curved. I'm creating more of an edge than they usually have. The eyebrows aren't too overly done, like they are not strictly one block of color, super dark. They look pretty natural, so I'm just, after using a eyebrow pencil, I'm just using a clear eyebrow gel to set them in place, because I find that this gives a more natural finish and it creates more of a hair-like texture. And also what I'm doing is I am accentuating the hairs in the beginning of my brow and kind of tilting them upwards so you can see them more. I am continuing by using an eyeshadow base, and then I go on and just put on a skin-colored matte shadow that will just function as my base color. For colored eyeshadow, the first thing I'm doing is I'm using a red shimmery shadow that's really highly pigmented, and I put it into my crease, and then I slightly blend it down and upwards. It doesn't have to be perfect. I also bring the color down to my lash line in the center of my lid. Afterwards I'm using a slightly peachy color as my transition shade to blend in the red more. As you can see, I am using a dark brown shade and I'm smudging that along my lash line, and I blend that one in with a little bit more of the red shimmery shade I was using in the beginning. Then I am blending out that peach transition shade, and I'm also putting a little bit of the matte skin colored shade right beneath my brow bone. I then continue to use a black eyeshadow and I smudge that along my lash line, but more closely to my lash line and a little bit more neatly than I was doing with the brown shade. Then I'm creating a curved wing with the black eyeshadow. Her wings aren't very dark, they aren't very pigmented at all, so that's what I'm doing. And then I just use the tiniest bit of black gel liner to make them slightly darker but not too harsh. For the rest of the eye, I am using a liquid liner, and I'm creating a very, very thin line because as far as I can tell, her makeup really isn't about the eyeliner at all. Her eyeliner is more defined along the lash line, and it gets more blurred and smudged as you come to the wing. For my under eye area, I am using the same black matte eyeshadow, and I am putting that along my lower lash line. I'm not bringing it all the way in, just the outer 2/3 I would say, and I'm kind of creating a little flick in the outer corner of my eye. I'm then deepening the outer third of my lower eyelash with a black pencil liner, and I'm smudging that one out with a little sponge. I then continue to smudge up my under eye area even more by using the same dark brown shade I was using on my upper eye line. And I just bring everything down a little more. I also smudge out the little flick I was creating in my outer corner. Here I'm tidying up the space between the lower flick and the wing on my upper line by just using a little bit of my pot concealer. I'm then bringing a little bit more dimension to the eye makeup by using a very glittery lilac-y color. The shadow plays with the light really nicely, and it just gives a little bit more depth to the whole look. Also adding a little bit of eyeliner in my inner corners on my lower lash line. Also tidying up my concealer in my whole under eye area. I'm then putting a really light shimmery shade under my eyes. And I'm putting an even lighter and even more shimmery shade in my inner corners. Then I'm just curling my lashes and adding mascara. I'm then adding a peachy blush to complement the red eyeshadow and putting on some highlighter. For my lips I chose a slightly corally reddish color. And I am adding a little bit of a pinkish tint in the middle of my lips and smudging it out. And that's it. That's the finished look. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time.